Hey, everybody, welcome back to Marketplace Growth by Accoil. Today, we're going to talk about hiring. Now, if you've got any open roles in your company or if you're thinking about it, we've got 5 areas that you need to think about or that we're thinking about, and we're going to go into detail on each of those. With that, I'm Peter.
Oh, everybody on Kate.
All right, Kate, so we've got 5 things that we wanted to talk about today. The first one is being clear on your needs. Second, do the work, write it down. Get clear on your culture is number 3. We've got some criteria that we look for when hiring. And then the 5th thing is what happens if you get it wrong? And don't be afraid to get it wrong because you don't get it right every time, do you? So we're going to go into those. We'll start with being clear on the needs. So Kate, you've done plenty of hiring. Define what does that mean to you when you think about getting clear on what you actually need? How do you define what the role is?
So what I usually do is I try to envisage saying where are we going to be in 3 years' time, and then work my way back, and then plot out the key deliverables or the types of things or the types of thinking I'm going to want, and then say, okay, well, what are the attributes and what are the skills and what are the knowledge that we do? There seems to be a trend from what I can see in the technology world, is that they tend to hire people fit for purpose. So they tend to hire people who've been in that segment. And I want to challenge that. And so sometimes it's actually good to get a new person in. It might take a little bit longer to get up to speed. I want to challenge always just hiring someone who's done it before, because sometimes you get good insights. So being really clear on what you want, and that actually takes emotional energy and diligence to do, because you just tend to go, oh, it's just that. For communication, it's just that. It's actually not. You actually need to say, well, think about this role. We need someone to be able to do, X many blogs, but it's not about just the blog. As you said, it is about how it comes together. In a nutshell, prepare.
Prepare. Well, I think what we've been through before, you and I together around this, is wearing a lot of hats. And I think the expectation is that when you're joining a small team, and that's primarily who we're probably talking to here, you won't be strictly in that little box that you get hired into, will you? So you'll be doing support, doing customer success, doing sales, who knows what. So being flexible, I think, and understanding what those outcomes are that you need as a business owner, which is a good segue into the second part, which is do the work, write it down, be clear with the people that you're going out to hire, what the expectations are. What are some of the things that you think are sort of must-haves and maybe some nice-to-haves when you're writing this down?
Well, I've worked in the industries over the years. I'm actually now asking myself to choose my age, but I've worked in many industries, and some of them are quite formal with their recruitment processes and others aren't. And so I actually tend to take an amalgam of that. I think it's very easy to get carried away, and actually the action process of writing things down and being very clear on who you are, what you stand for, and what you want, by putting it down in words, it actually does make a difference. I think the second thing is you're best to write this on the paper, but I think your interactions with people, you actually try to be really honest to lay out what it is going to be like. Now, particularly if you are in the startup phase or you're in the early growth phase, it's chaotic. That you're literally pivoting and changing priorities depending on your new information. So, just the underlying characteristics of who you want and who you want to recruit. But I'm a really big believer of telling it as it is. And if they still want to come and join you, then
I saw a great example of a company sort of writing a really good position description, in my opinion, but also the company culture came through. And I know I'm probably going to butcher this name, but is it Dizer or Deezer?
Oh yeah,
recently,
the guy laughing.
yeah,
Cool.
and the personality comes through, right? And it's crystal clear when you read these position descriptions what kind of culture that you're going into. So I think that's a great screening mechanism right there. So someone's either going to jive with that or not. But they've clearly thought about the role and thought about, like, we have a personality as a business, and that's kind of who we're looking to hire. I think it's important to kind of put that through. And it's okay to not be like flashy and over the top with anything. If you've got a buttoned up culture, that's fine too. But I think it comes through in the way that you write up these roles, which takes us to culture. and clear on the culture that you want to continue to have in your company. We've talked about this within Accoil, how we're not going to be too heavy-handed with establishing culture, but it's kind of up to us, sitting at the top of the company to set that culture. How is this something that we're going to do, sort of push through in the hiring process as we go through this? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think so I love actually getting a number of conversations with your final candidates. And I like asking from different perspectives, and I love throwing some questions in that you can just see them going, well, where did you expect that one? And just to see it's not exactly necessarily the answer, that it's not exactly, whether it's correct or not, it's actually how they respond and react. So I think the characteristics, because everyone's going to tell you what you might hear in interviews. So I think you can actually get signals by doing things slightly differently in terms of getting different people to interview and asking from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And just being informal chats is amazing what comes through. Do I feel like I can actually work with this person? And you kind of get a sense. I find you're going to get a sense on this.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. So I guess really, like in particular, whoever is working with directly with that role should probably be involved then. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And also if it's down the line to run support, totally support. I love that role because that's a really interesting role in that a lot of people see as a stepping stone. If you find someone who actually just loves solving problems and is happy to do it day in, day out, helping people and solving problems, you've kind of got someone. Whereas you've got to really watch those sorts of roles where they're viewed as stepping stones and they just want to be 6 months on to the next thing. And that's actually, you've got to really watch for that, I would suggest.
I feel like we could spend a while on that one. I'm gonna take us away from that one and go into some of the criteria that we've been talking about when now that we're starting to talk about hiring. Some of the things that we're looking for, there are some sort of like checkbox type stuff, like how much experience they have, how much experience do you want in that role. Kate, you mentioned it before that experience isn't necessarily the end all be all here. So that's one of the things that we're looking for is, do they have enough experience or the right amount of experience, but also things like, can they get their hands dirty? Are they willing to do the grunt work? And this is kind of a cultural fit type thing as well, that they're willing to get in, get their hands dirty, do the work, maybe grow into the role. Is there anything else that you look for? I mean, you mentioned these signals. Like, what are some of the other signals that you're looking for?
For me, it's about flexibility. For me, it's then demonstrating their ability to the way they manage their emotional maturity. And you get a sense from a person how you think they're going to cope and deal with things. And again, coming back to that honesty, you actually then start to flesh out. So, for example, I can remember us hiring someone who hadn't been in a particular area for a number of years, that he'd actually been out somewhere else. Actually, I think actually it was doing in construction, and it was for us. It was actually a way in step back into the industry. So he was absolutely a fantastic candidate in that he may not have had the skills to have the right attitude. So for me, the person and the attitude and how they're going to fit into your team, their ability to be a learner and a self-starter, to me, the king hits. If you have the best person in the world, and if they're arrogant and they're not going to play as a team, no thank you.
I agree. Some of the other things that we talked about before hitting record today is having maybe direct industry experience or experience in or around the customers that you're actually serving. So that for us, that's something that we've been talking about is, we want to work with product owners, engineers, customer success type people. Are the people that we're considering that are candidates for our open roles, have they been exposed to this before, or is this something that they're going to have to learn from scratch? And again, I don't actually have a problem with people being new to things. I think a lot of it is balancing out that, are they willing to do it? Are they willing to grow into the role? Yeah, I think.
And maybe I can,
go ahead.
Maybe I can give my 2 cents here, Pete, because there's one thing about person growing into the role, and if you're actually hiring someone who is not quite at the right skill set, you actually need to plan and adjust your deliverables and your momentum, knowing that it will be slower and you will need to give more guidance. The upside of that is you get someone who's keen, coming in with a different lens, but again, it's that tension of marrying with your momentum. And I find everyone is always in such a rush to do stuff. And I go, well, sometimes you're not smelling the roses all the way through and you're missing your opportunities. And so I'd actually had some of the best hires by actually choosing someone of left field who didn't necessarily have the skills. The absolute best hires in the world. You could just rely on them. They were like rocker, the way they delivered on stuff and the way they came up with ideas. So I'm really challenged the existing paradigm.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that's important. I mean, small company, small team, no one gets boxed into a role, right? I mean, we just can't, we don't have that luxury perhaps of saying this is your job and that's it. So I know, just on our team collectively, I love that everyone's willing to get in the ring, no matter what the role is, and have a crack at it. So
absolutely.
I think that's a big thing to look for. I'm going to transition us now to the fifth and final thing is what happens if you get it wrong? So what happens if you make that decision, you base your hire on, maybe the attitude seemed good in the interviews and all that sort of stuff. And then when it comes down to it, they're just not willing to get their hands dirty. What do you do then? How do you go back through that door?
Well, I actually quite like dealing with those sorts of situations, which I know seems really quite strange. So for me, when I've got a role that's not working, I tend to look at, I use the 3 C's. I look and I go, is it a confidence thing? So what I do is I do a little bit of an audit. What I do, is it a confidence thing with them? Is it a commitment thing? And is it a capability, a capacity to do the job? Now, if it's a confidence thing, then that's one thing. If it's a capability, that's another. And if it's a commitment issue, and again, you need to be really careful on why it's a commitment issue, because I have made this mistake and thought someone was lousy and lazy, and all the entire team thought they were lazy, but behind the scenes, they had a very, very delicate family issue that was really life-threatening, and they were trying to balance and too embarrassed to say anything. So that was a really, really big learning moment for me, is not making assumptions. So it's about understanding. And then I think it's about being brutally honest and working it through. And you don't do it just once, it's a couple of occasions. Now, I'm a firm believer if someone's not working, is you give them the 3 strikes full. Because they clearly are not working, you actually need to let them go. So here in Australia, we have a 6-month probation. And for me, that is the absolute period. And if they're not working, you're using our best interests for everyone, but they actually find somewhere else. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. That's fantastic. So just to recap that, if a hire doesn't go as planned for anybody, looking at the 3 C's, confidence, commitment, and capability or capacity, and then a 3 strikes rule, I think that's a logical and really sound approach to that. I think, hopefully you never run into that problem. But yeah, I mean, the reality is that'll happen.
Yeah. Don't go blind, your eyes blind, I don't really want to see that and avoid. As a leader, as a manager, you have to actively manage this and have honest conversations.
I think that's it, isn't it? Just the honest conversations. And
well, we all do our best.
Of course. But sometimes that isn't easy to have candid, open, honest conversations. But I think it's really important, and I've really appreciated that working with you and Simon. That I think we do that well, and it isn't always easy. All right, I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you, Kate. So just to recap this today, be clear on the needs when you're going to hire a role. Do the work, write it down, get crystal clear so that you can communicate that to the people that you're hiring, what the role is. Be clear on your culture and what you're looking for in a fit. Understand the criteria that you're looking for, and then, go in, don't plan for things to go wrong, but if they do go wrong, have your plan. As Kate said, 3 C's, confidence, commitment, and capability, and you can give people 3 strikes and just have honest conversations with them, and you can always work things out for the best to everybody. Anything else to add, Kate?
No, other than be human. be human, particularly during the recruitment process. There are human beings at the other end of this, and some of them have had many rejections, and that could happen to you. So walk in these shoes is a lot. And more sales to you. Until next time.